Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now today I have a scooter from Fluid Freeride. This is called the VISTA. This is the first single motor scooter that has been able to make it up a 26% grade hill. You also have a speed rating of over 30 miles per hour. And they say this can hit 15 miles per hour in 4.2 seconds. All that stuff I'll be testing throughout the review, but first I want to talk about how you can customize it. There's an app, and in it you can customize things like speed, acceleration, and braking, which a lot of scooters can do that in their apps, but this one does a better job at it. The name of the app is called King Song. Home screen shows battery life, temperature, amps. There's a horn button. I thought that changed the horn on the scooter, but it doesn't. Next to that, you can lock it, and then if you move it, the alarm sounds. You can power the scooter on and off in the app and then set a vehicle password. Now, as far as customization, the first one is the off time adjustment. This has got some pretty cool lights, and there's 3 different lighting modes. There's full color mode, full color flowing water, and monochromatic respiration. Got some pretty crazy names to describe their lighting effects. Now moving to the fun stuff, you can change the speed mode. I'm curious to know what the speed is if I set all these to the lowest position. Eco is 2 miles per hour, drive is at 2 miles, and sport is at 2 miles an hour. If you want to set sport mode to 2 miles per hour, you can do that. I do not want to do that, so let me go back into the app. Here's the top speed at 20, 40, and 60 kilometers. And if you don't want to use the app to change the speed mode, if you just double tap the power button, you'll hear a beep, and that's how you can change the modes. Eco is 11, drive is 23, and sport is 31. Now that was a slight downhill, so I'm gonna go up the road now, and that is topping out at 26 miles an hour. I like this because a lot of apps that have this ability to, change the speed, each mode has a certain level that it can go down to and up to. But here you have 3 to 60 for all 3 levels. Next is cruise control, and this is pretty cool. You can set how long you want to wait before it kicks on. Maintain a constant speed. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and it does beep, indicating that the cruise is kicked on, which I do like. As far as the acceleration, they have a sliding start, and I've never seen this before, but you can choose from 0 to 8 kilometers per hour how fast you want the scooter to be going before the power kicks on. I've got it set to 0, so that should be a 0 start, which it is. And then slide that all the way up to 8 kilometers per hour. Hitting the throttle, nothing. Give a kick. Ooh, give a stronger kick. Ah. Oh, there we go. I said I was going to test out to see if I could get 15 miles per hour in 4.2 seconds, so here we go. We're off. 2, 5, 10, 13, that's probably it right there. There's a slight delay in my app. Usually when it's 2 or 3 below the target, it's reached the target. All right, now as far as the electric brakes, you can adjust that from 0 to 100. You combine the electric brakes with a front drum and a rear disc, and you got a lot of braking power. I want to show you the braking distance at level 0, 50, and 100%. So you do have a little bit more powerful braking when you hit those regens to the highest level. A word to the wise, these are solid tires, which I'll talk about later in the review, but with solid tires, especially if you slide them, it creates flat spots. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a couple of them. And now the ride isn't as smooth as before the brake test. The last thing you can adjust is the acceleration. You got another slide bar, 0 to 100. Let's test out the poppiness at level 0, 50, and 100. Wow, that is very, very slow off the line. Almost too slow. Almost lost my balance. Now let's see what it does at 50%. Oh, definitely faster. No tire spin, but that's very much faster than the first time. And now 100%. Oh yeah, here we go. That's better. Still no tire spin, but definitely the fastest of the 3. Now I want to walk you through the scooter from top to bottom and tell you all the things I liked and didn't like. The first thing I like to talk about are the grips. That's a small thing that can just increase the whole overall feel of the scooter. And I do like these. They're flexible, they're wing-tipped. You got a nice flick bell. I talked a little bit about the lights before, but I didn't mention the turn signals. So when you hit the left turn, it does make a noise. To turn that off, you do have to set it back to 0. I like the screen look and size, but it is a little bit hard to see in full sunlight. It's got your typical thumb throttle that I see on a lot of scooters, and then a power button. And if you single press the power button, that turns the lights on and off. And then you got a headlight up top, You got 2 eagle eyes below, and then you have 3 tail lights. And then of course all the LEDs underneath the deck, which I talked about earlier. Brake levers are some of the nicer ones I've seen for a scooter, you know, just over $1,000. The thing I didn't like the most was the angle of the stamp. It pushes you back towards the rear of the scooter. It forces more of your weight on your rear foot. This is usually where they put a fin, and they've got this weird thing here. I wish they would have made that a lot bigger, especially for how short the deck is, because using that is not the most comfortable. Now, I do like how much clearance you have. It's very high off the ground, which I like if the stability is good, and that is the case with this. When I was topping the scooter out, I didn't have any stem wobble. This is full suspension, and on each one of the front forks, there's a preload. There's also rear spring suspension, and you can adjust that as well. To test the suspension out, I've come to I call this the death hole. I want to see if these are going to bottom out if I loosen them up all the way. Ooh, not bad. They didn't bottom out when set all the way loose. Let me tighten these up now. Oh, that's much more severe. Usually a lot of companies have that option, that preload option, but it doesn't really do anything, and that does. With the suspension all the way loose, coming off a curb, woo! That's nice. One of my favorite features is how lightweight this is. It's only 60 pounds, and with the size of the motor and the torque you have, you actually can rally this around. I mentioned this before, but this is a single motor scooter. That's a 1,000-watt motor that can peak at 1,800 watts. So when it comes to climbing hills, you've got plenty of power. I've never been able to take a single motor scooter up that hill. That's the hill I always use. It's a 26% grade, but I think this has got the power to do it. It's got a lot of torque. It's not a heavy frame. Let this be the day that a single motor scooter can make it to the top. That was icy. That was a little scary. Okay, here's the climb. Hitting it at 20 miles an hour, but it's dropping. Whoa, it's gonna do it. Down to 9, but over the top. Yeah, just for fun. I want to do that again without any momentum and see if I can make it up. Bottom of the hill, sport mode again, and the climb begins right away. Motor's sounding pretty good. Pretty much no noise at all. This is the trickiest, toughest part. It's slowing down. I think it's gonna do it. It's gonna make it down to 4, up to 5, and over the top. Wow. Okay guys, you got some torque, some climbing power with this. Under the deck, you have a 60-volt, 14.5 amp hour battery. They do offer a bigger size for $200 more. This one takes about 7 to 8 hours to fully charge. And once charged, I did take this on a range test, and it was cooler weather riding. The temperature was in the low 40s, and my average speed was 28 miles per hour. It's got a range rating of up to 45 miles in an ideal riding situation. You know, warm temperatures, flat terrain, a light rider. Basically all the things that I didn't have for this test. I'm a heavier rider at 190 pounds, and on my test I had over 600 feet of elevation gain, and my app recorded just under 12 miles. So now you know what you can get in an ideal situation, 45 miles, and in a not so ideal situation. The last thing I want to talk about are the tires, and I rode this for a couple of hours before I realized that they're not air-filled. These are actually very cushy and soft, solid tires. Typically, I do not like scooters with solid tires because you just get the tiny vibrations that make your eyes just vibrate, but this is actually okay. Okay, well that wraps up the review. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. If you do want to pick this up, I've got the link in the description. I'll also have any discount codes and coupon codes, things like that in there as well, which I will be updating throughout the year. As always, I appreciate you guys hopping on here and checking out my content, and take care.